Hi, my name is Cy Porter and I am making a tutorial on how to do this hand-drawn 3D scene using Photoshop and After Effects. And I make my tutorials to get the word out about my animation work at solomation.com. So if you'd like to encourage me to make more of these, please visit that website and check out some of my work. So as you can see here, this is a 3D scene. Technically, it's referred to as a 2.5D type animation. That is, it's not true 3D animation. And After Effects is not a full-fledged 3D program, but as an illustrator and an animator, as you can see, there are workarounds and there are ways of going for the hand-drawn type of animation and also to utilize 3D capabilities. So let's go ahead and see how I set this up. So here we have Photoshop. So I went ahead and I created the whole scene first in Photoshop. So I have a lamp in here, but so I'll go over here to layers and take the lamp out, and these are the people in the scene. So these are all two-dimensional layers, and as you can see here, I have a wall layer. So basically it is you can see it has the border on the floor, and it has it's transparent where the windows are at. And the way I got the dimensions for these windows was first I drew the window. So first I drew this window here, and then I built out from there. So I just drew the back window, and that gave me basically the dimensions to cut out the holes in the wall. And the way I did that is I copied this layer. I'll go ahead and do it here to show you. So if I copy this layer and then transform, get the transform tool and shift and change the size, it'll keep the width height ratio, and in that way I can, even though I scale up and down, the width and height will match the original window. And that's important. You can have it any scale, but you want the width and height ratio to stay the same. So once, I scaled it down to fit the wall and copied and pasted the window 3 times on the wall layer, and then used that to figure out what size holes to cut in the wall to build the what would you call it, kind of like a window seat little so I'll go ahead and delete that there. So so you've got the wall with the proper size holes in it, and then you have the original window. And then, so from there, I made the side wall, and I only need to make one of these, but it'll, in After Effects, I'll use it to make the left and right wall for the window. The window seat will have a left and right wall. And I also used it to get the dimension for the floor and roof, or the window seat box, the very top wall and the bottom surface. And I only need to make one of those, but in After Effects it'll be used for 2 files. And also I have one white box here that goes behind the window, and that's just so that there aren't any seams that show up, because it's not true 3D, there can be seams, because basically you're just arranging 2D images in a virtual 3D space. So sometimes kind of there are these gaps, and so I just have one sheet of white that's larger than the window that will go behind the window, so that where, especially because the line, the drawn lines I'm working with here aren't truly straight. They're all wiggly because I hand draw them. So when they won't really, in corners, they would leave gaps. So basically those are the files that I put together, and then I saved it. And then what I did is I went into After Effects, and I imported that Photoshop file, and it automatically, when I imported it, you import file, and then I pick room. That's the one I just created, and it'll give me a choice here: import it as editable layer styles, and make sure that composition retain layer sizes is checked, and press OK, and it'll bring in a bunch of files. So basically what it does is it has a folder with all the layers that you had in Photoshop. Each are their own image file, and then it has a composition. It creates a composition for that entire Photoshop document. And I went ahead, if you double click on it, down here you can go ahead. So what I did is, with all the original layers, I clicked all the window layers. So we're talking about the window and the wall and the floor and the square behind the window. I selected all of those, and then I went up to Layer and chose Pre-Compose, which is at the bottom of the Layers menu here, and that creates its own composition for all the Windows layers. So I went in here, you can see in 3D space, I clicked to turn them all into 3D objects. You can do that there's a little box here, and then you just click all the boxes of the images you want to occupy a 3D space. And then in the virtual 3D space, I arranged them, got them all lined up, and basically the layer that goes behind the window, I just moved it back a little bit on the Z-axis, and then on the window floor I brought it down to the bottom, and then I made a duplicate of it, Control D, and I brought the duplicate up to the top. And then each window wall, I went ahead and I made a window wall and then duplicated it for the left and right side, and just make sure that the lines match up. That the lines on the window wall match up with the lines in the window. So you can see over here that the lines of the side wall appear to run into the lines of the window. And I work with really heavy lines, with really thick lines, and that way if some of the line gets covered up, let's say if some of the line of the window gets covered up by the surface of the side wall, there'll still be a good enough strong line there. And make sure that the camera in the window, this over here, the window composition, make sure the camera's turned off. And then when you're back in the main scene composition, go to your, as you can see down here, I have a window composition, and also I duplicated it 3 times for each of the 3 holes in the wall, and I turned it into 3D objects. You can see by clicking this box here, but it's important in order to have a pre-comp, this window pre-comp act like a 3D object in another composition, the main composition. There's this little star sign up here. You need to make sure these boxes are selected. Otherwise, the window pre-comp will flatten out in the main composition. And basically what I did is I just lined all of them up to fit with the window. Where's the camera here? So so then what I did is I took I duplicated the window pre-comp and lined each one for each window, and then the main wall I brought back in 3D space, and I created a white solid, and I made that my floor in 3D space. And so as you can see, you can do some really basic 3D modeling in After Effects using raster images. Hope that helped out, and again, if you want me to make more of these, hit the like button, visit my animation at solimation.com, or leave a comment. If you have any questions, leave a comment and I'll do my best to answer them, and I hope you have a great day.